Hello, my name is Cathy. This is my January reading journal and welcome to Lunarbird Book Club. So hello, this is the start of my January reading journal. It is the 10th of January today and it's just absolutely beautiful outside. So frosty and crisp and clear that I had to come outside and have a walk in it. I feel like I've got this place completely to myself, which is really nice. And to top it all off, I've had a really good start to January and 2026 in terms of reading. To be honest, I've had a pretty good start to the year. Anyway, it's been Ola's birthday. She's 10 years old. I can't believe I'm a mum to a 10-year-old daughter. But she's just absolutely fabulous and it was really great to celebrate her birthday. I've had some good times with friends over the Christmas holidays. I've had a good first week back at work. You know, it's just life's feeling pretty good and the sun's out, the kitchen's almost finished, getting a kitchen sink put in today, which I am very excited about because washing dishes upstairs in the bathroom is hard work and a pain. Anyway, to reading. I've set myself a goal this year of reading 50 books this year. I've never set a reading number goal before because on one hand I think it's a bit stupid. Well, coming up to a nicer bit, I might need to be careful here. Because it doesn't really matter how many books you read, and you know, some books are 600 pages long and some books are 150 pages long, so how many books you read really doesn't matter at all. But my real goal is that I want to get off my phone and stop doom scrolling and mindlessly wasting my time. So to do that, I am setting myself a goal to read 50 books this year so that instead of scrolling on my phone, I want to read books instead. So really, I need to try and aim to read a book a week. Plus I've got audiobooks going on the side, so hopefully that will help. So, in the first week of January, I started and finished Where the Dark Stands Still. And this has been a really fun book to read. I got it for my birthday. And it is about this great big forest in a land that I think is loosely based off Polish folklore. I don't think it's meant to be set in like real life Poland or a version of Poland that ever existed, like an imaginary alternative history version of that. And it was very fun. It's my first time reading the romantasy genre. I will say it does read a little young, a little bit YA, but it is told mostly from the perspective of like a 17-year-old girl, so fair enough. It's about Liska, who sets off into a deep enchanted forest to make a wish on a magical flower to get rid of her magic. She has got magical powers that are ruining her life, so she wants to wish them away. But the flower is guarded by like the warden of the wood, spirit, demon, man, who looks like a boy with antlers and a weird skull mask, and he guards the flower and he catches her trying to steal the flower to make a wish, and they end up making a bargain where she's going to serve him for a year as a servant in his house, and at the end of that year he will then take away her magic. And then adventure, romance, secrets ensue, and it's a lot of fun. And even though I thought I knew where it was all going, a few times I did not. And I found it a very engaging, fun story. I don't think this will be a genre that I read lots and lots of because like I say, it reads a little young, and you know, that's fine. I would have absolutely adored that book as a teenager. As a grown woman, I just enjoyed it and had a fun time, which is fine. There were a couple of bits in the writing that kind of pulled me out of it a bit, and I don't know if it's because it's set in an unknown, you know, time and world, but a huge conflict in the story is like magic versus the church, and you know, Liska feels the way she does because her church has taught her all magic is wrong, and she's from a very religious community, and yet she often uses God as like an expletive, you know, like God this and God that, and I'm like, oh, as somebody who, you know, has a faith and is from a religious community, like, we don't do that, especially Christian ones, unless maybe Orthodox Polish people do, I don't know. And there was another time when like they talked about a character like going into shock, which just felt like a little bit out of place for like the medieval time setting it is, because like shock to me is quite a medical word that has come out in a specific place in history and time. So there's like a couple of instances like that that just pull me out the narrative a little bit, but that's really nitpicky. And overall I really enjoyed the story and the characters and the house set in the magical forest. has its own kind of magic and personality, and it's like the best house ever. And I really enjoyed reading about that and about house spirits and all the different kinds of demons and ghosts that haunt the wood. Was all very well done and built up. So yeah, I had a really good time reading that, and I think it started off my 2026 reading really well. Then I have started reading this week, I'm going to get it the wrong way around, Blackwood's Blue Skies by Eowyn Ivy, who wrote The Snow Child. This was another book that I got for my birthday, and I have now started reading it. I'm about halfway through, absolutely loving it. I don't want to say too much about it, apart from it's set in Alaska. There is a bit of magic, and at the heart of the story is this woman called Birdie. She's 26, she has a 6-year-old daughter, and she's a bit of a wild spirit, is Birdie, but she really loves her kid, and their relationship and the way they're portrayed is really engaging, and it's a really hard book to put down, so I'm really enjoying that. And I'm also listening to Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan, the 5th book in the Wheel of Time, I think, and I'm really liking that too. And the thing about Wheel of Time when you're reading it is like, you're not just reading it, you're immersed in it. You're in every town, every inn. When you're reading from a character's point of view, you are so thickly entwined in their thoughts and feelings. It's like a really transporting experience to read the book. So I like that. It's like just taking a complete break from your life and stepping into that world. So really good start to 2026, and that's the summary of my first week reading in 2026. And I better stop recording now because my phone is telling me it is full and has no more memory room left. Hello, it is Friday the 16th of January. I'm having the rare experience right now of being alone in the house in an evening. Rob has taken All out to one of her activities, and I've cried off tonight. I'm just having a very quiet evening at home, which is quite nice for me. I've had a busy week. I've had a church meeting. I worked really late last night. I've got a busy weekend up ahead, so it's actually been really nice and chill just to be in the house quietly reading. And I've just finished a book, which is why I've jumped on to give you an update. Before I tell you about the book I've just finished, I think I need to tell you that I also finished reading Blackwood's Blue Sky by Eowyn Ivy. I finished that at the end of last week. Oh, that was a really good read for me. I just enjoyed the story so much and being with those characters, and I like The Snow Child. There was tragedy in there. There was definitely some very sad things that happened, but there's also a lot of beauty and love. And I think the book is kind of a bit about wildness, and wildness is very freeing and captivating, but it is also dangerous. And I think that's what comes out in this story, of the cost of being close to the wild can be high, but we still need it and crave it. That's what I've taken away from it. But as a book, I really enjoyed reading it. She makes me want to go to Alaska. I don't know if I really do want to go to Alaska. I don't do well with the cold, and I am quite a scaredy cat. I'm not made for hard living at all. I like it when the walk ends in a tea room. But her writing makes me want to go see Alaska. It's very well done. So I've read that, and I really enjoyed it. And then this week I have been reading Abide in Christ, which has only been a short book, but actually it's taken me like a few more days to read it than I first anticipated, because it makes you think a lot. So the premise of this Christian book is just about the importance of, as a Christian, abiding in Christ and really trusting in Jesus and not trying to fix everything yourself, but trusting that God's in control. That's kind of like the main thing, and about how Christians can create, and about how Christians can relate to Jesus more closely in their day-to-day life and trust in him more throughout the day. There's some really good teaching in here, but I will say, like, I struggled to read it because I'd read like a line at the top of the page and it would get me to think. And so my head was thinking about something inspired by what the book had said, and then I wasn't actually taking in the rest of the words in the page because my head had already gone off on its own tangent then, and I was thinking about it. So I had to keep going back and reread pages because I wasn't actually reading them. I was thinking about things the book had already said. So thought-provoking is what this book is. And I will probably have to read it again one day to take in more of what it actually said. But yeah, this has been a beneficial read, and I'm glad to have read it. And I'm glad to have read my first non-fiction book of 2026. I did say I'm aiming to roughly make every third book a non-fiction book. However, I've just run upstairs to my TBR shelf and had a look at what books I have left to read. And actually, quite a few of them are non-fiction books. And I do this thing when I don't know what to read next, is I just count up how many books are on the shelf, and I put it into Google, a random number between 1 and whatever, and then whatever number comes out, that's the book I read. So as it happens, I have 7 books on my TBR shelf. I did a random number generator, which number book should I read? Said 3. So I counted along and I picked out the 3rd book along on my shelf, which just so happens to be another non-fiction book. It is Albion, A Guide to Legendary Britain by Jennifer Westwood. Look at this. So this was a second-hand book that I picked up in Burnley Marketplace. It's just got that fabulous second-hand book feel. Like I can smell it. Like the pages are old, the cover's a bit battered. It's kind of like an old style font on the inside too. So like you know you can just tell that this has got a couple of years on it, and I love it. So yeah, I'm going to read about myths and legends of Britain. I do think this is going to slow me down. This is not the kind of book where it's going to be easy to read 50 pages a day. That's been like the pace I've been trying to keep to. I mean, Abide with Christ already stopped me on that because there was too much to take in, so I wasn't reading 50 pages a day there. I don't think I'm going to read 50 pages a day of this because this is dense text. I mean, there's a few pictures in here, so the pictures are going to help me at some point. But again, there's going to be a lot to take in, but I'm really looking forward to reading about some folklore, about some myths and legends of Britain, hopefully learning a few things, maybe getting a few ideas of places I'd like to go travel and see. So yeah, I'm going to have a studious time reading. Oh, I should also say, I probably should have said this earlier. You might notice there's some stars on the wall behind me. Those are leftover decorations from celebrating Ola's birthday. Most of them have been taken down now, but this strand of stars has survived the decoration purge, so a little bit of celebration up there. I'm going to have a fun time reading this. I think this is going to put me in like study girl mode. I'm going to get my highlighter pens out and maybe write down some quotes from this in my commonplace book. Yeah, so I'm gonna read this and learn some things, and I'm very excited about it. January update. It is the 29th of January, and I have finished Albion, A Guide to Legendary Britain, and I have really enjoyed reading this over like the last couple of weeks. This basically walks through the entire of Britain, starting at Cornwall and zigzagging up the country in sections of counties, and telling you about all the different places there that are connected with different myths and legends. So there's a lot of standing stones, castles, woods, rivers, rocks that have imprints of footprints on, and church monuments, and all the different folk stories, ghost stories, fairy stories that accompany them. And it's been really, really fascinating. Because it's broken up into lots of little sections, it's been quite easy to read, and I have read the whole thing cover to cover and thoroughly enjoyed myself. So that has been a great reading experience. I have also finished reading or listening to The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. That's book 5 of The Wheel of Time. And although we'll probably do a proper review of it at some point on the channel with Rachel, I forgot to take any notes during the whole thing. So I really should get a pen and paper and write down some reactions before I forget what happened. So as a note to self, the ending was very emotional for you. I shouldn't really go into spoilers on this one, but the ending was emotional for you, and you need to unpack that a little bit. But yeah, that has been really good fun listening to that. And so now I've had to pick some new things to read. So audiobook wise, I've started listening to Until We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis, which is like a retelling of Greek legend of Psyche, Cupid, and I've forgotten the older sister's name. But it's a retelling of a Greek myth imagined by C.S. Lewis. It's the last work of fiction he ever wrote, and I've heard that some critics say it is his best work of fiction. And I enjoy a lot of C.S. Lewis's fiction work, so yeah, I'm intrigued to read this one. I've never read it before, don't really know a lot about it. I'm about an hour into the audiobook already, and I am really enjoying that too. I should say the lighting is terrible in here, and I'm in the messiest room of the house. I'm just filming this very quickly before I go to bed. So we are still all very higgledy-piggledy after the kitchen renovation, which is almost finished. Almost finished, and most of the house is getting back into order, but not this room yet. Anyway, yeah, I need to pick a book to read. So I've had my first DNF for now, and that was Wanderlust by Rebecca Solnit. My friend got me this on a whim because normally I feel like this will tick boxes. It's about walking, it's about history. I've read a book very similar to this and absolutely loved it. And I think maybe that's my problem, is I've just read the opening introduction and like a little bit into the first chapter. And this is just a little bit too scientific and technical for my mood right now. I might come back to this later, but this is actually going into the science of walking. Yeah, I think maybe just because I've just finished a work of non-fiction, it was a bit of a mistake for me to try and pick this one up. I think I'm just in the mood for something a bit more easier on the brain right now. So part of my thing this year is I really want to be in love with the books I'm reading and keep up a momentum. So if I'm not enjoying a book, I'm quickly going to put it down, and I might return to it later, or I might not. So yeah, so I started this but haven't got on with it. So to continue in my folklore theme, I'm going to read The Little Grey Men, which I think is a children's book that Rachel lent me. She read it last year and it looked fun, so I've asked to borrow it. So this is going to be my next read, and that is my update for this vlog. Hello, it is Sunday the 1st of February, so I need to wrap up January. The hardest thing about my challenge this year to read 50 books is that I have to be strict with myself and give up quickly on books that I'm not getting along with, and I've had that happen again this month. So I started reading The Little Grey Men. I've read about the first 30-40 pages of it, but then I just realised I was reluctant to pick up the book and carry on reading it. So it actually is very nicely written. It's got beautiful prose, beautiful descriptions of the countryside. It's very cute and quaint and charming, but for some reason I'm just not feeling it right now. Maybe on another occasion I'd like to come back to this and read it, but for some reason it's just not gelling. So after 2 days of not reading, I'm deciding to give up on this, and I've picked something else to read instead. And at this point I really needed a hit, because now I've put down 2 books in a row. So I've started reading Watership Down, the graphic novel version that Rachel got me for Christmas, not Christmas, my birthday. And look, I'm already quite far through it because it's a beautiful, beautiful book, and I'm really familiar with this story, and I'm finding it very moving reading it in this format. The artwork is beautiful, and already there's been a few moments in this story that's just given me shivers. There's a bit where the rabbits finally get to Watership Down and they're on top of the hill, and I think it's Dandelion who just says, "You can see the whole world from here." And there's this beautiful, I'm gonna have to find it, there's a beautiful illustration of the rabbits looking out over the down and just obviously feeling like, from a little rabbit perspective, that they really can see the whole world. And Hazel is like, wow, Frith must have made it just for us. And it's just really conveying that sense of wonder. Hang on, I'm gonna have to find it. Oh, there you go, here it is. So that's the rabbits reaching Watership Down for the first time and looking at the view and just feeling like we have found our home. So yeah, this is the book I'm currently reading as January finished and February begins. So a little summary of my reading in January. I have finished 5 books. I can't remember if I told you that I finished the Fires of Heaven audiobook, but I have, and it was great. So yeah, I've read 5 books this month, and according to my Storygraph, the majority of the books I read had a mysterious and adventurous mood, which love that for me. Well done. Also, I should say, oh gosh, that lighting makes a difference for my phone. Wow. Sorry, I'm distracting myself. Look how bright my phone is. I probably need to turn that down. Anyway, that's a mood. I read 60% fiction and 40% non-fiction. So that's on target. I want to make roughly every third book I read non-fiction, so I have accomplished that. And the genre I read the most this month was fantasy, which is not surprising. And I'd say my top book of January is a tie. I can't choose between these two. On one hand, I've got Blackwood's Blue Sky. This was just an absolutely beautiful fantasy magical realism book. I adored it. And the other one was Albion, A Guide to Legendary Britain. I found both of these equally enthralling, and I'm really glad I've read them, and I feel like my January has got off to a great start. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it. Looking forward to see what February brings. Bye!